everyone, and really thank you so much for joining Corporate College's webinar series, Live with the Experts. Each session is really geared towards providing you relevant information and tools and topics to support you and really set you up for success. Adjusting to this new norm is occurring now on a daily basis again, and shifting to a new reality requires us to adjust and work remotely, adjust our learning, and adjust our living. At Tri-C, we're committed to serving you in this time of rapid change by providing actionable items and resources to help you and your team succeed and thrive. This is also one of our newest resources to prepare the workforce for overcoming challenges and achieving both personal and business goals. Our series is comprised of 4 essential themes: virtual leadership, which our session today will focus on, also working remotely, navigating a transition, and personal health and well-being. And as many of you already know, Corporate College has a very distinguished and talented team of facilitators and subject matter experts. Today, I'm very pleased to introduce our presenter and facilitation specialist, Susan Aldrich. Susan is a facilitator and coach with Corporate College, but brings more than 22 years of experience as a business consultant with a variety of public and private organizations. Susan Aldrich will hand you the key to unlock how your employees really think and give you the tools to get to it right and quickly. She has created a rapid results training targeting your high potential employees in a powerful and concise way that guarantees you success. Raised right here in Cleveland, she is a graduate of Baldwin Wallace College and serves on the board of the American Society for Training and Development and also the International Alliance of Learning. That's a pretty busy schedule. So with that, I'm very pleased to present to you Susan Aldrich. Welcome, Susan. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing great. It's Friday, right? I woke up this morning, I'm like, what day of the week it is? And I think we're all starting to feel that. Doesn't feel like Friday, but it's the 8th of May. So I guess we are Friday at noon. So welcome so much. And let's jump right in. I see a lot of the participants, a lot of you I know and are good friends. Welcome. And the rest of you hopefully become friends and will enjoy this quick webinar. So today we're really focusing on kind of 2 different things. The second part is going to be more, I would say, the nitty-gritty of leading and managing people virtually, which I have been teaching and coaching on for several years. But the first part is really going to be about how do we start really, I'm going to use the word take care of our employees. How do we lead during this crisis, which maybe is going to ease up a little bit. I'm hoping to get a hair appointment real soon, as I'm sure a lot of us are with my stylist. But we have to take care of ourselves. But during this time, it's important more than ever that we're aware of what are going on in our employees' lives and what they're up against. And we need to take care of them and help them through this. And then, as I said, the second half is we're really going to get into the nitty-gritty of how to lead better virtually. And we're going to focus a little bit on something that's dear to my heart, which is the 4 styles of DISC, which many of you I'm sure are very familiar with, or something very similar, a 4-quadrant type system, because I think that will really help you to understand how to lead people differently and what their needs are. And that's really what today is. So just to remind you, you won't be able to see each other's chats, but we will be able to see them, and we'll be able to share with you what others in the group are saying. So chat away. So let's go ahead and get started. And leadership isn't always easy. We all know that. But it's really challenging right now. You're challenged, but our employees are challenged. And I love the picture on this one. I thought it was perfect. A lot of people are working on porches and basements and whatever else, a lot of bedrooms and dining room tables. It's been kind of fun to see people's houses, not only the stars and the TV personalities, but our friends and our coworkers. So let's start a chat right away. What do you think are some of the biggest challenges to lead virtually or to be led virtually during this time with everybody working at home, everybody's schedules and routines totally disrupted? So let's go ahead and please chat, and then we'll hear what some of you have to say about, some of the challenges that you're all facing. So take a minute and send something to us. Dwayne saying being personal, and that's exactly what we're going to be talking about. Is we've got to make this much more personal, a lot more kindness and empathetic. Staying engaged, meeting employers' needs for social. Great. Staying focused. Oh, that is so huge. Everybody's talking about that. Figuring out what they need from me and still making sure I take care of my needs. And I think that is a great comment, because I think we have to have a conversation about that and to ask people, what do you need from me? I think our company has done a great job setting all of us up in teams, and we communicate on a daily basis through the system. Great. I think there's a lot of companies doing a great job, but I've heard some real horror stories out there. Challenge adjusting to meeting virtually and reading and responding to emails. Yeah. I've talked to people who have had 5 Zoom meetings back to back. They barely have time to go to the bathroom. Not knowing the personal challenge for each individual working remotely. Thank you, Michelle. That's key. Keeping people motivated is really hard during this time. I just read something how so many people are having a hard time sleeping. And so that certainly is going to affect their energy and their motivational levels. Let's see what else. Anybody else? Geraldine, any other ones that you want to read that I didn't catch?
No, I mean, you hit on most of them. The other one that I saw too is just, the fact, really motivating employees at this time, and being able to really effectively communicate some of those challenges.
Yes, absolutely. And I want to say right up front, you can't lead by email. And I've been saying that for years and years. And you can't lead by text messaging. So we've really got to, in these times, pick up the phone, Zoom meet, whatever that other person needs. Some of us may even be a little bit zoomed out, which I never thought I would say that. But, picking up the phone and talking directly to people and having meaningful conversations. Like I said, you can't lead virtually. So great suggestions about some of the challenges. So with leading virtually, life isn't normal for anyone, and we can't expect anyone to behave normally at this time. So you might have had an employee in the past that met every deadline, was super organized, and now they're working at their kitchen table with 3 kids working at the kitchen table, trying to get their schoolwork done, and maybe even a husband in there too. So we really have to kind of look for changes in behavior, and what one person may have been like at a nice organized office may be very difficult at home. The biggest thing I really want to talk about here in this section is people's stress levels. They might have a spouse who is unemployed, so certainly money and paying the bills could be a huge stress level. Kids with all of their challenges can certainly be difficult. I have a friend that was sharing a story that when her husband started working from home, their 2 little ones, 2 and 4, the first day, they shut the door because he was on lots of calls internationally, and the 2 kids laid outside the bedroom door crying and pounding on the door, "Daddy, daddy, daddy," because they didn't understand, 2 and 4 years old, why daddy was shutting the door and not letting them in. And they didn't understand working from home and how hard is that. And so he has really had to adjust to make sure that now he gets up and has, breakfast with the kids, and that he sees them at lunch, and he usually stops late in the afternoon and takes them out to play so that they know now, when daddy can play with them. So that really pulled at my heartstrings, and I'm sure yours too. What is stressful to one person might not be to another person. I was on my first Zoom cocktail party yesterday at 5:30 with a group of girlfriends that I've known from church for a long time. And everybody went around kind of, catching up. And some of them said they never want to go back to working full time at work, that this has been great for them. Others are feeling very isolated. One person said she's been working 3 days from home for years. Going to 5 wasn't bad, but she said what's really, really stressing her out as a single person is the evenings and the weekends. She said during work, the work week is actually better for her. Where that there was another woman on our cocktail party last night who was going into work every day. She works for one of the suburbs, one of the cities here in Cleveland. And she said, she's working 7 days a week, tremendous amount of stress, and she can't wait till everybody goes back to work so she can take a vacation. So we have some people who are really working incredibly long hours, weekends and evenings, and we have other people who it may be a little bit easier. They're not having to drive to go into the office. So routines are crazy. Work habits, we have to realize, are totally out the window. What might have worked in the past doesn't apply in the current situation. So really think about what everybody's dealing with, and we have to get a little bit more personal and find that out. What's going on at home? What works for them? My brother, yesterday, it was his daughter's 15-year birthday, and she was so stressed out because she couldn't have a party. Nobody was going to sing her happy birthday. Nobody was going to remember it. So we did at 8 o'clock last night a Zoom sing along, but he took the day and worked from home so that she wouldn't be just with her brother. And they had lunch together. I brought over breakfast and flowers at 9 o'clock when she got up. So we made her day special because for our kids, this is also a huge change. And a lot of kids are stressing out. My nephew said he cannot wait to go back to school. He hates being on the computer all day and misses all his friends. So we have to really be aware of what's going on. So I want to touch a minute for empathy is my number one thing. During these times that are so different, we have to kind of stop and think before we react. And I have a personal story that I wanted to share. So I was on a Zoom call a couple of weeks with a client, and she's usually at the office. She's now at home at the kitchen table, and she has a 6-year-old who's working from home, or not working from home, schooling and everything. And the very first time we were on a call, I could hear her daughter in the background and making a lot of noise and calling for mom. And I could see that it was stressing out my client and everything. And I told her, oh, don't worry about it. But I could remember in the fall, if that had happened, I might be a little annoyed that the kids are playing in the background and I can hear them, but that's our new reality. So we have to stop sometimes the reactions that we have from how things used to be and how sort of business etiquette is. Now kids and family are right in there with us. So think about the person's home situation. Ask them about it. Is your husband, your spouse, your significant other, what's going on with them? Has anything changed that you need to know about? One of the biggest things is, to have some patience with people and their response times and how you're dealing with them. I think patience, patience, patience is the key word right now. I think we have to really start asking people how we can help them and what do they need from us? What are obstacles we can take away from them? How can we intervene? How can we help? And that we want to, and that they need to be open and honest. What are they struggling with? What's getting them down? ask them, how are they doing emotionally? And one of the things that I've tried to do is just kind of live in the moment, but also have a good laugh sometimes, and how we're all struggling. And, getting out of our pajamas in the morning, things like that. I think we have to be very human, and very realistic what everybody's dealing with. And I think sometimes when we admit we're struggling, when we admit that, we're having a hard time remembering what day it is, or we've gone 3 days without a shower. And I admit the other day I realized it had been 3 days and I needed to get in the shower. That, people will feel then that we can relate to them. So I think that's really important. So I'm just going to pause for 1 second and see if we have anything else to add to our chat. So I think we're good for the second. So let's move on. So the next thing that I thought was so important is, as I said, patience. So I was on a Zoom call the other day with 3 people, and 2 people I could tell were very experienced with Zoom. I'm so with Zoom. But the 4th person was really struggling because it came up automatically muted, and she didn't realize how to unmute it. And we couldn't hear her, and she was really struggling. So someone took charge and explained her in detail and stepped her through it. But we could all feel that she was stressing out, and that's the last thing we wanted. And she was so apologetic. But somebody who's new to this, online virtual world, I'm sure we've seen this over the last couple of weeks, is, people struggling. So patience is huge. Like I said, lack of sleep and worrying is really affecting the person's ability to work at maybe the high levels that they have for more. And as I said, the kids, the challenges, we love them, but they love to make noise. They love to interrupt their parents. So again, I was on another call with a friend, and she kept asking her mom for a question. I said, please take the time to answer her question. And she said, oh, thank you so much. You thought I'd done something really unusual. And then I finally said, I'd like to meet her. So she called her daughter over. She's adorable. She's in the 1st grade. And I introduced myself and asked her a couple of questions. So now when we get on our weekly coaching call, she always wants to say hi to me. And she is building things with Lego. And so she has to do a little bit of show and tell. Takes 2 or 3 minutes, but I think it relaxes everybody. And then our employees aren't feeling stressed out about if our kids interrupt us or our kids are making noise. I have to share a funny one. The other day, again, this was a friend's Zoom meeting, but all of a sudden I heard a funny sound, and it sounded kind of like a dog barking, but I knew she didn't have a dog. And then she laughed and she said, oh, that's my husband blowing his nose. So again, things like that happen, and people make noise. So we have to really have a lot of patience and make time to engage with the family, meet the family, say hi to them and see what's up with them. A lot of people I know are really stressing out over elderly parents. I have had so many of my clients that I haven't seen my parents in, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Sometimes one, they're out of town. She can't get to see them. Others have gone, to the window or dropped things off. But I am finding this is one of the biggest stresses for people, is their disconnect, their inability to see and interact and take care of their parents. So you might ask about that. Do your parents live by? Have you been able to see them? Things like that, to see what else they're dealing with. So during these times, it's important, as I said, I've kind of gone ahead to engage. So we don't want people to feel guilty about, the noise, the kids, the interruptions, the dog, all of those things that we've seen. It's okay when a spouse walks through. The other day, one of my clients, his wife was in the background getting something to eat. And all of a sudden he turned around and looked and, realized she was in the background. And I said, oh, have her make me a sandwich too. I'm hungry. One other thing, which might seem really, really silly, but there are people that are on back-to-back calls and Zoom calls and WebEx meetings. And I'm starting to hear that people telling me they don't even have time to go to the bathroom. And so we have to make time for that. If you need to go to the bathroom and you're one-on-one with someone and can't, step out, tell them, hey, we need to take a break for a second. I need to go to the bathroom. I've been on back-to-back calls. So I'm starting in the next couple of weeks, some virtual training, and we're going to do 2.5 hour sessions. And that means that we're going to need to take breaks so that people can get something to drink, but also that they can use the restroom or just get up and stretch a little bit. So Judy chatted that training and support is key to success with the new norm. Absolutely. And we have to help people with technology. I know some of our most stressed out people in corporate America right now are our IT people. They're working around the clock, available. And I have one really good friend who is so stressed out. She's getting migraines because she's in IT. She heads up a big IT department, Cleveland, a company here in Cleveland, downtown. And she's basically feels like she's on call 24 hours. And so I was talking about she needs to take some time every day for breaks. So great. I like that Kimberly said, ask about pets. I tend to forget about pets because I don't have any, but absolutely. You'll hear the dog barking in the background. I've seen people on their calls with their cat in their lap. Ask about pets. So let's do another chat on what are you experiencing or trying to go beyond and make that difference and make that personal touch. So let's chat away and hear what you come up with, what you're seeing, trying, and hearing, or would just like to experience from people. Hey, I haven't gotten any chats coming across. Like to hear from you. Oh, great. They're starting to come in. So Geraldine, do you want to review some of these with us? Okay, I'll read some of them. Judy again says, make it a point to check in with all of your team members as well as others in the company on a daily basis. I like that. Send personal cards and notes. Thank you so much, Nancy. I really, really believe in that. I've sent more cards in the last couple of weeks to friends and family and coworkers than I probably have all of last year. Try to keep your virtual meetings fun. Tell a joke. Yeah, I think humor is key during this time. Geraldine, are there some more you want to read to us?
Yes, I mean, some of them too have been, just playing games with their team and kind of, getting outside of that work structure. I know some of my colleagues too have set up, little coffee breaks together, just a few minutes to quickly catch up with each other, and and actually too, even kind of sending things to people's homes to, whether it be just a card or we surprised some people with their birthday. We surprised them with a lunch celebration too, so we had it door dashed to them.
Great, great. Oh, I think it's Henry said, I'm talking about sports teams. That's really important to so many people. I can't tell you how many people have expressed how bummed they are about baseball And I guess there's some virtual things going on, but it's just not the same. So, tap into what interests them. But I think the theme of humor, lightheartedness, laughter is key. So, I know a company that I work with, they're having Fridays at 4 o'clock over at Denora. Some of them, and they're meeting up over to talk about their week, have a good laugh over cocktails. So those I think are really important. It's going that extra mile that we need because people are so how do I want to say, isolated, and they're not getting that from their friends and their family as much as they normally would. So great job. Thank you for all your ideas. So we're just about at the halfway point. Oh, someone just put in, we celebrated a baby shower virtually, which included games. Man, everybody's getting so creative about what they're doing. So great. We are at the halfway point, and I want to start digging into now how to really virtually lead people of different styles. So some of you are, I'm sure a lot of you are very familiar with the disc method. Some people have used different animals like owl or tiger or something. Some people use different colors, but we'll explain for those of you who might not be familiar with it, the styles and how to virtually lead each one as we go through so you can participate. So the first one is our D style. And the key characteristics of a D style are very direct. Okay. Goal oriented, very fast paced, task oriented. They want to get things done quickly. And so let's chat for a minute about how can we lead those people. If you know somebody that you're leading, that's what I call a big D, it's going to be very different than someone who's very social. So I know Rose is on our call, and she is a big D, and she admits it, and I love that about her. Rose, how do you want to be led? How do you want your boss to work with you? Because I don't think Rose is going to want a ton of chit chat. That's just not her style. So Erica just said, start meeting with let me see, clear and direct communication, Carla said, to the point. Absolutely. Short meetings. That's a really good one to remember. I really, really like that one because they're going to want to get on and off. So what else? My DT members are my go-to for special projects with timelines and goals. They are so goal-oriented. And consistent meetings. That's a great one. Very consistent, same time, same place, nice and short. So that can be really, really helpful to do that. A couple of things that I might suggest is to send them an agenda ahead of time. These are the 4 or 5 things that I want to talk about. And this is what I want to cover, or have me send what you want to talk about and cover. So good. Anything else, Geraldine, that I missed with managing virtually our big Ds? Let's see, I'm going to just look real quick. Hold on a second.
Yeah, no, I think you hit them all.
Okay. So, great. So, our next one is, I think I did our influencer, our social people. I'm a big I, and I'll admit it. I think I'm a recovering I, and it has been really hard for me, the lack of socialization, and I have really had to work hard for that. I have people that I call every week, or people who call in with me that I'm checking in with. But also when I get on a call, I am trying not to be hogging it, to talk more than anybody else, letting other people talk too. But I'm so dying to talk and have a conversation about almost anything that it's really hard for me. We like to process verbally. So we like to brainstorm, we like to talk through. So, how can we, again, virtually manage our eyes, our social people, which this could be a very, very difficult time for them. So, let's see. I will look through. Um, I'm a high I personally, so I have to control my chit chat. Thanks, Lisa. Make sure to check in. Use video. Absolutely. I would say I prefer video over, the phone, and certainly email. Let me see. Not specific to the model, but maybe creating some type of ritual, like maybe starting with music. Oh, I like that, or ending with a good short inspiration, or something motivational. Oh, those are great ideas. People were talking about having a little game, or a joke or something, that you've heard that's really, really funny. So your eyes are really going to appreciate that, because they really need the social aspect. Let's see, a couple more have come in. Let me see. Let's see. Rose has said, give lots of time to express themselves aloud. So Rose knows that because she's a D, so she has to work on letting the eyes express themselves. So let's see. Assign them a problem solving task. Provide an agenda. 15-minute catch up. That's a really good idea. You could say right up top, let's take 5 to 10 minutes for everybody to catch up, because we normally would do that in a meeting when everybody comes in, everybody's, sitting down, getting their coffee. There's a little network and chit-chatting to go. So maybe you need to have those in your meetings. Let's see. Allow time to start off the meeting to have them reflect on their current mood. Have a mood wheel and take 5 minutes to discuss. Share peaks and valleys of what's going on and current situations. I love this by Lisa. Create an water cooler time. What a fun idea. Connect them with a partner. Good, good. Recognize the lag time in responses. People have to unmute themselves or type in a chat box. That is really good, Michelle. That lag time of unmuting. And sometimes people will start to talk, realizing they haven't unmuted. So all of those challenges, these are great, wonderful ways to deal with eyes. I think they're probably, out of all 4 styles, eyes, from a style perspective, might be having one of the hardest times because of their high need for socializing. One thing before we move on, and I've had this for years, is I have great relationships with clients and colleagues, but some really like to communicate through email. And I find that very transactional. And I use the word transactional on purpose. It doesn't have any personal touch, it doesn't connect with me. So, meeting in person and talking on the phone was really always very helpful to me. So, think about that with your coworkers or employees. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So S's are, again, pretty social, but one of their characteristics is they are great team players, and they like working in teams, and like helping team members. And we really need to keep that in mind. So let's start chatting as I share a couple more things about eyes, about how to work as well as we can and take care of our eyes that we work with. Got to remember that S's really, really like helping others. So they're probably some of the ones that are coming up with these great ways of playing games and meeting up and spending that water cooler time. They also need organization and routine. So someone else had said that, having a set time to meet. S's would love that you're going to meet with them twice a week at a certain time. You kind of maybe have a standard check-in with them. One of the other things that I've noticed about S's is they really like to be kept in the loop. We all do, but S's really, really thrive on that. And they get stressed if they feel that they're out of the loop. So we may have to spend some extra time connecting with them, keeping them in the loop, just letting them know what's going on, what you're thinking about. So let's see what's coming up on how to work with S's. Keep things light. Maybe start off with a fun trivia. That's great. Be transparent and restate goals or initiatives. That's great. I love that about being transparent is so important. Anything else that's coming in? Yep. They can organize. So you could do a session, a training session to help coworkers. You know what I think would be great now? Your people, your S's who are great in Outlook and have all these tips and tricks. You could certainly do an online training with that. When some S's come up with ideas, give them an assignment to implement it and take the lead on that. Great. Can be a combination of styles. Absolutely. And I'm so glad that you said that because that's really important. And again, ask people, if you don't know their style or you can't figure out their style, ask them what they need. Let's see. S's can be a combination. Let's see. I'm just checking on. Give me a second. Okay, we have set meeting times weekly and impromptu daily meetings to keep everyone updated. Oh, I like that a lot. Let me see.
Michelle, you probably like the other one that was in there about Michelle had noticed or made the comment about, maybe actually have some type of assessment like a DISC assessment with your team right at this time. Maybe this would be a good time to help really understand and determine, how best to present.
Excellent. Yeah, you don't want to take it for granted, but do a little DISC training, get everybody to figure out what style they are. And, I think in this day and age of technology, even before COVID, I have started to ask people, how do they like to be communicated with? Some people, believe it or not, still like to pick up the phone or have someone call them. Some people really prefer email. I have some clients, it's like, oh, please text me. So I think we can start to ask those questions of how we can communicate better with them and how they want it. Great. This is wonderful. Okay, so let's move on to our C's, which are conscientiousness. Our C's are usually are very analytical ones. So please start chatting again. How can we manage, work better, our employees, our coworkers with our high C's? C's a lot of times are our accountants, our IT people. They love data. But one of the big things I always tell people about our wonderful C's is they need time to process. And if we remember that about them, it will really help you. They don't like to be caught on the spot. They don't want to make a really quick decision. So sending an agenda ahead of time make their lives a lot easier. Or saying, why don't you think about it and get back to me tomorrow or the next time we talk. They're probably, out of the 4 styles, the least emotional, may need the least amount of chatting and fun and contact. They tend to work very well remotely, and they tend to work and enjoy working by themselves. So again, if you're an I leader or a D and you need that social part, you may have an employee that actually doesn't enjoy it that much. So be aware, we tend to lead based on our own styles. And so I want you to understand that we really need to take the time to figure out everybody else's style and how they might not appreciate how our style is and want to be led that way. So let's see if we've got some things in our chat yet, and see what people are coming up with. As a C, I truly like to be left alone. Don't bog me down with a ton of chit chat. I think that was Erica. Erica, thank you so much for your honesty and your openness. I totally get it, because when I'm dealing with a C, I have to really control myself because I know they don't appreciate all my emotion, my enthusiasm, and all my chit chat. So I try to really keep it straight to the point. Want to be coached, which gives a lot of insight about the team member. This has been a great tool. Thank you so much for saying that. Okay. Don't force them into meetings. That's really good insight. Thanks for saying that, Rose, because it stresses them out. They might not want to participate in a social Zoom meeting, and we shouldn't make them feel bad about that or pressure them to join in, because for them, that's just more stress or can be very tiring. I actually worked with a woman years ago. She worked for the real estate department of our company, and she was on the phone constantly dealing with people. And she admitted when she went home, she didn't want to be around people. She never picked up the phone. She made her husband do that because she was literally physically and mentally drained by the end of the day, because she must have been a C. I didn't realize it at the time. She didn't thrive on all that. So let's see. Have a C in the family. I think this pandemic has forced her to be more communicative and express more. Absolutely. I could see that. It's forcing people into it. Let's see. It's hard for us I's to remember C's don't like to chit chat. Yep. And let's see. Don't put them on the spot to participate immediately. Joel, thank you. Yeah, C's do not like to be put on the spot. It makes them very uncomfortable. So if you're in a Zoom meeting with a group and everybody's sharing ideas, your C's might not immediately, share ideas. And that's okay. Like someone said, don't put them on the spot to participate. Act as an interference between C's and other types. Kimberly, right. And you might say simple like, give Jack some time. He needs time to process, or get him that information so he can think about it. I'm married to a big C. Anybody that knows me knows that my husband Ken is a C. And one of the things I found with is, set the seed, give him an idea, or let him think about it. And usually he'll come up with a great idea and get right behind it. If you try to push them, they tend to dig in their heels, and they need that time. So good. Let's see. Assign them a presentation ahead of time. That's a great idea, because again, they don't like to be put on the spot. So if you're going to call on them, if you want them to present, Give them that heads up. Let them prepare because um, they know all the information. They've got it right there in their head. But having to do it real spur of the moment could raise up their stress levels. What's the best practices of dealing with I's and S's person? So let me hang on to that for a second and I'll come back to it. Who is a combination of an I and an S person? I'm not sure that I understand the question. If you could chat and let me know exactly what that means. But I'm going to make some assumptions on what you're asking. I's and S's are on the right side of our diagram, and they're both highly social. They love working with people. They get their energy from people. So social interaction is key for them. Your D's and your C's on the other side tend to be much more data driven. They like to get things done. They're very goal and task oriented. So for them, the social side isn't as high a priority. They tend to work better by themselves. Where I's and S's, we get our energy, we get our brainstorming, we process verbally. So, oh, good. I hope that answered your questions. Let's see. So someone else said, I'm an I and an S combo, and this has been very hard on me. I can understand why being an S. It's been so isolating. And I can't wait to when we can finally start meeting people face to face. I've always been a big lunch person, love to go out to lunch with people. And I think that's one of the biggest things I'm missing is I can't take clients or friends or coworkers and just go to lunch. So those are four styles. And I hope that this little section has been helpful for you to understand the needs of the different styles, and that we have to figure out that not everybody wants to be led, be it in person or virtually, exactly the same way. Okay. A couple of do's and don'ts that I wanted to kind of wrap up with a little bit before I do one more chat. But do provide support, and that's going to look different for different ways. I really want people start to ask, what can I do to help you? What do you need? What roadblocks can I help you with? Do you need to work different hours? What's stressing you out? So we really need to put our therapist hat on and provide support. Big one is listen. Really start to spend extra time to listen to people and hear what they're saying. They're going to tell us, okay? Respond as quickly as possible to people's needs. So I've been talking to a lot of people about being led virtually, the do's and the don'ts, what's working, what isn't. And several people have said to me that their managers, they feel are checked out, that they're not responding quickly. Things are getting not dealt with, and it's driving them crazy. So I think that's something that we need to respond as quickly as possible, even if it's to say, I don't know, I'll get back to you. Or I got your email, I got your message, I'm working on it. Because people don't want to feel isolated and that you're not listening and responding them. Again, the whole positive attitude. Sometimes I just want to say, could we not talk about COVID-19? Can that not be part of every conversation that we have? Can we talk about what's going right, or just kind of leave it out of this conversation? Because I think sometimes we waste a lot of time or get so caught up in talking about how bad things are, what's going wrong, or just, the day-to-day things that are affecting us. Humor and kindness whenever possible. What we started with today is kindness. What are the little things that we can do? Please don't be harsh or critical. We really, really need to be aware of that and try not to do that. Don't be impatient. We can't expect people to respond as quickly and to be as organized and to meet deadlines like we used to. So we can't, and putting on more pressure isn't going to help. And again, don't be non-responsive. I think another thing that we have to be aware of is not being driven, what I call, by corporate needs or the bottom line. Because right now it's about the human frailty and then the human side of things. Yes, we have to make bottom line. So many people are being laid off. So many people are being furloughed to help save the company possibly. But let's not lead with that. Let's lead with the human side. So let me catch up with chat for a minute, and then we'll start to wrap it up. Let's see. This has caused me as a high D, as you know, this is coming from Geraldine, to be more patient. Great. Offer opportunities for teams to share gratitudes. Absolutely. I love that. Because so much good is happening. I mean, there's been a couple of days when I have woken up and realized, what am I doing today? It's just like every other day. And I might start to feel a little down or stressed. And then I really try to focus on all the things I'm so thankful for. That I still have a job, that I have a nice house, I have food, I have family and friends that, care about me, that are keeping in touch with me. So that would be a great way to check in with that. So good. So I think we have to take time every day to remember that, we'll get through this. It might seem like it's gone on forever. I was talking with my husband the other day about something that it felt like it happened 3 months ago. And I think we figured it out. It happened only 3 weeks ago. So I want to do one final chat before we wrap up. There's been lots of great comments. But what's sort of your takeaway from today? And what are some of the things in general that we need to do to help each other through this and to lead the best we can? So I kind of like to hear some of your closing remarks, ideas, suggestions. So I'm just going to open it up and let's hear what some of you have to say. Any words of wisdom, anything that you're experiencing. So Rose says, don't check out, communicate, and then communicate a little bit more. Thank you so much for that. Oh, sorry. Forgot to mute my phone. Need to be more patient with others. Great. People first, always. I like how you said that, Kimberly. Yeah, we've got to put people first. Continue to provide real-time presentations like, oh, this one that is so helpful. So we're getting some good feedback. Let's see. Carla says that they do a daily whiteboard with jokes, quotes, trivia that starts on the day on a light and fun note. That's a great suggestion, Carla. Thanks for that. Let's see. Okay, Amber said to be sure they learn the best ways to communicate with your staff. Not everybody is the same. And remember, not everybody's like you. So what you need, 3/4 of your team or our society has a different style. So great. Focus on facts, not fear. That's a really big one because there's so much fear that's going on out there. So, good. Let's see what else we have to say as we wrap this up. My team has told me that they enjoy their new norm and working virtually. They were hesitant at first, but have adopted well. Great. I think that's from Judy. Erica says empathy is so important that shows you care. Amber, we will be having a mask competition in the office. That's becoming, I think, sort of a thing. I was on a meeting of other trainers about 2 weeks ago, and people wore different funny hats. And I didn't get the memo on that one, so I didn't have a funny hat. Let's see, somebody else says about having a mask competition. We will be another one about a mask competition. The best mask wins. I wonder what they wins. Yes, this has been a helpful refresher to use DISC. Good. Letting your people know that you're available to help. Remember, this is the first time we are working remotely and may take some time to adjust to the new norm and the daily changes. And I think we're really seeing that because I'm hearing more from people. It was so hard in the beginning, but now they're getting a groove with their spouse. They're getting a groove with their kids. They're working out. And I think employers are understanding that you have to take time off during the day to deal with kids and situations. So, let's see, remember more understanding about things that might not go as planned. We did a Q&A document and ask employees first. Let me see, I'm having to determine it, and ended up being 10 pages. We addressed everything that they asked for. Great. Judy says she loves the created mask competition. So thanks everybody for sending that one in. Good. So thank you for all of the ideas. And I'm going to turn it over to Geraldine to wrap us up in just a minute. But I did want to let everybody know that we are running several of these webinars a week, and usually at 9 and 10. And my next one will be next Wednesday at noon. And it's got kind of a funny title, but it's, self-care and everything. Geraldine, my title of my next program just went out of my head, but it's really about taking care of yourself and how that can increase your productivity. So we're going to have a great discussion about what's everybody doing in this new norm to make sure they're taking care of themselves so that they can take care of their families and they can get their job done and actually be more productive. And I think,
Susan, that's one of my favorites. I love it because it's a math equation. You had titled "Self-Care plus Life Balance equals Productivity."
I knew I came up with a great title.
You did.
Yeah. So yes, and that will be my next one. We've got some other ones, so feel free, to go online and see what some other ones up and share and sign up for them, and feel free to share with other people. So.
Sure. And so we have to end on Dwayne's comment, Susan, because Dwayne was very, very kind. He wrote back when you were asking for suggestions. He said to continue to provide real-time presentations like this one is so helpful. So wow, what a great testimony to you, Susan, reaching out to everyone, and what great participation today. So obviously everyone responded very strongly to you.
Great. Well, thank you so much. And I was so happy to do it. And I hope I gave you some food for thought. For some of you, maybe you have not been exposed to the DISC style, and that will be helpful for you in the future. I couldn't lead without it. I want to know everybody's style so that I can adjust to them. Thank you for all the great comments that are coming in. I wish that everybody could see the chat, but with this big of a group, webinar just doesn't, I guess, allow us to do that at the moment. I'm not sure about all the technology out there. But we will be getting this presentation back to you, and we will be summarizing some of the great comments and ideas before we send it out to you. So my wish is it's Friday afternoon. Wish the sun was coming out, but I think we're in for a really chilly afternoon and maybe possibly tomorrow. So take care, and I hope to hear from you soon on another webinar. And just thank you for joining and participating.
Perfect, Susan. And like everyone who's piling into the chat right now, I and the rest of Corporate College want to thank you for hosting this session today. We want to thank everyone for joining Susan and I today. And remember, Corporate College is here to serve you with these essential learnings to overcome the challenges that you're facing right now. And together, with our virtual classroom training, our self-paced online programs, and as you can tell with Susan, our fabulous facilitators, we can really provide you in your organization consulting services, training, and coaching. And when you visit the Corporate College website, you'll find our learnings are available in the virtual classroom format for not just the leadership and things that Susan was talking about, but even things into quality and continuous improvement, Lean Six Sigma, even into healthcare, such as our patient access specialists. So please feel free to rewatch this program. It'll be posted out on our website shortly, and please feel free to share it as well. And just by visiting the Corporate College free webinar series page in the next few days. And as always, you can stay up to date with us by following us on social media. So thank you again for joining us, and please stay safe and stay healthy. Take care. Thank you again, Susan.
Thank you. Take care, everybody.